I built more in 6 months than some big tech teams ship in 6 years. Not because I had more resources, not because I had some giant venture-backed team behind me, not because I got lucky. I did it because I stopped building like an employee and started building like a system. That's the difference. Most people are still treating AI like a chatbot. I treat it like an operating layer, a force multiplier, a founder stack, a way to compress weeks of work into hours and months of confusion into clear execution. So in this video, I'm going to break down exactly how I build an AI founder mode, how that lets me ship faster than bloated teams, how Web3 removes a lot of the friction and middlemen, and why this new way of building is exactly why gatekeepers hate people like me. Let's start with the real difference. Big companies do not usually move slowly because their engineers are bad. They move slowly because the system is bad. Too many approvals, too many dependencies, too many meetings, too many stakeholders who want safety more than progress, too many people whose job exists because the process is inefficient. Founder mode is different. I don't optimize for politics, I optimize for shipping. I don't ask who owns this ticket. I ask what is the fastest path to a working result. I don't wait for perfect certainty. I build, test, observe, and approve. That tighter loop changes everything because once you pair that mindset with AI agents and reusable architecture, you stop operating like one person and start operating like a compact engineering machine. Here's how the pipeline actually starts. Step one is idea compression. Most people lose time because their idea lives in their head as vague energy. That's useless. I force every idea into structure fast. What's the goal? What's the user pain? What's the narrowest useful version? What can I fake, simplify, or postpone? What has to be real now? Then I turn that into build prompts, specs, acceptance criteria, and execution docs. That's where AI becomes useful immediately. I can use it to clarify the product concept, convert rough thoughts into structured requirements, create development plans, generate edge cases, draft architecture options, identify what should be automated versus hand built. This is where most builders are already losing to the future. They think the advantage is getting code from AI. No, the advantage starts earlier. The real advantage is turning ambiguity into executable structure faster than anyone else. That's the founder leverage. Once the spec is clean, I move into the editor. This is where AI assistant coding actually earns its keep. Inside the IDE, I'm not just asking for random snippets. I'm using AI to accelerate implementation, refactoring, debugging, planning, boilerplate reduction, and repetitive transformation work. That means scaffolding features faster, tracing bugs faster, generating drafts faster, rewriting ugly code faster, documenting decisions faster, exploring multiple approaches without burning half a day. And because I already understand engineering deeply, I'm not using AI as a crutch. I'm using it as a multiplier. That distinction matters. If you don't know what good looks like, AI can make you fast and wrong. If you do know what good looks like, AI can make you brutally efficient. That's why experience still matters. That the tool accelerates judgment, it doesn't replace it. This is where things go from faster coding to actual unfair advantage. Agents and automation let me offload workflow labor, not just code generation, actual execution flow. So research agent, content support, documentation support, testing help, outreach assistance, data movement, tasks chaining, follow-up triggers, reporting. Now combine that with templates and repeatable systems. Instead of reinventing every build from scratch, I can reuse patterns, landing pages, admin panels, auth flows, Stripe logic, dashboards, automation layers, lead capture flows, AI wrappers, Web3 hooks, etc. That's how you really get 10x, not by writing code faster one line at a time, by reducing how often you need to think from zero. The future belongs to builders with repeatable systems, not just talent. Speed is not just code. One of the biggest mistakes technical founders make is shipping working software that looks unfinished, sounds unfinished, and sells like unfinished software. So, my part of my pipeline is using AI across the full product surface: concept visuals, brand assets, demo support, product explainers, social content, landing page copy, launch assets, screens, motion, video. That's another reason independent builders are dangerous now. You no longer need five separate teams just to look legitimate. You need taste, system thinking, and a strong workflow. Because if I can go from concept to demo to landing page to promo assets in one loop, I'm not just building products, I'm building momentum, and momentum compounds. Then comes deployment. This is where corporate environments really start looking ridiculous because the moment a lot of organizations touch release flow, the speed, oofs. My goal is the opposite. I want builds moving quickly from idea to dev to live test to iteration. That means using deployment platforms, cloud infrastructure, reusable configs, automated workflows, and simple shipping paths wherever possible. The point is not perfection. The point is shortening the feedback loop because once something is live, reality starts talking back. Users show you what matters, bugs show you what matters, data shows you what matters. Shipping is how you learn the truth, and AI helps you reach that truth much faster. Now, let's talk about the Web3 side. Web3 is powerful because it removes friction. That's the part people miss. I'm not interested in empty hype. I'm interested in what decentralized rails actually unlock. Payments without traditional gatekeepers, ownership logic, wallet connected products, programmable value, on chain coordination, communities with aligned incentives, systems that don't need old middlemen for every transaction or trust decision. That matters because middlemen create drag, they create fees, delay, permission layers, and dependence. Web3, when used correctly, gives builders another option, and more options means more leverage. That's why combining AI with Web3 is so interesting. AI helps you produce and automate. Web3 helps you own and root value. And that combination is much bigger than either trend by itself. The other reason this approach matters is because I'm not talking about fake theory. I build real things, apps, tools, systems, demos, platforms, automations, product experiments that can be tested in the market instead of debated in meetings forever. That's the founder advantage. Instead of spending months trying to sound smart, I'd rather build something, put it in front of the people, and see what reality says. That approach aligns with how I already work. Execution first, demo driven, outcome focused. That is the same positioning behind showing working software instead of pitching vague capability. And that's also consistent with the broader direction I'm building toward agentic systems, reusable infrastructure, always on products, and new income rails rather than one off apps. Real builders do not hide behind process. They ship, then they refine, then they scale where it proves itself. So why can this model beat much larger teams in certain situations? Because large organizations are often optimized for coordination, not velocity. And in a world where AI reduces the cost of execution, too much coordination becomes a tax. That's the trap. The more overhead you need to move, the more vulnerable you are to someone who can move with less. A founder with strong judgment, reusable systems, AI acceleration, automation support, deployment flow, distribution, ownership mentality can now compete in ways that used to sound impossible. Not everywhere and not on every problem, but absolutely in early product creation, iteration, niche tools, workflow systems, and fast market testing. That's why this matters. This isn't just about productivity, it's about market structure. So when people ask how I built so much so fast, the answer is simple. I stopped building like I needed permission. I built a founder operating system, AI for speed, agents for labor, automation for repeatability, deployment for feedback, Web3 for ownership, distribution for momentum. That's AI founder mode. And that is exactly why gatekeepers hate people like me because I do not need their permission to build anything, not to test, not to launch, not to iterate, not to create value. The barrier has moved. It's not access anymore. It's whether you know how to combine the tools into a working machine. I do, and I'm just getting started.